Welcome back everyone to Hackora 2025. Hackathons are where ideas are born. But here's the real question. How do you know if your idea is actually worth building beyond the weekend? That's exactly what today's session is going to be about. We are joined by Mr. Yajur Bajaj, an AI product manager at Dubai Holding with over 5 years of experience building and scaling products at the intersection of AI, fintech, and startups. Yajusa brings a rare mix of startup grit and enterprise expertise, having mentored founders and shaped products serving both B2B and B2C users. His topic today is one every hacker needs to hear: how to validate your hackathon idea like a product manager. Get ready to learn the frameworks, mindset, and tools that can transform your idea from just a prototype into a product with real world potential. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Yajur Bajaj, sir.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you for your kind words. I'm happy to be here and glad to be here connecting with all of the people who are participating in this Hackora. So glad to be here. I hope all of you guys are doing good. You can let me know in the comments if any questions are there and we can get started. Let me just quickly introduce myself and then we'll talk about my startup experience and then we'll get started with today's topic as well. All right, Ishita has already introduced me, but just to on top of that, I am working as an AI product manager here at Dubai Holding, which is one of the largest companies of Dubai, which is into real estate, investments, entertainment, is even hospitality. We are working on multiple AI use cases, which help us to make sure that we are improving the efficiency as well as reducing the cost as well. So this is something I'm doing at this point of time. I've got more than 5 years of product management experience. But what is very interesting is how I started my product management journey. So when I was in college, like most of you guys are at this point of time that I'm assuming, I started my startup journey, which is I founded Pedal Pals and FitRev. Just to give you some context, Pedal Pals was a cycle rental management system, and we used to give cycles on rent. At COVID, if you guys remember, there was a wave of cycling, right? After that, we started with FitRev, which is like marketplace model for all the gyms and fitness centers in the city. And we also had our gym management software while working in FitRev. So those were the two startups that actually pushed me into product management, because I realized product management is also something where I can work as a generalist and focus on multiple things while making sure that real impact is being created for the users. And today we will be discussing something similar. How do you actually validate your idea in your hackathons as a startup founder, or even as a developer or a product manager or a business guy working in any company as well? So let's get started. Let me quickly share my screen and then we'll get started.
Thank you, sir, for giving us your time.
You're welcome, Ishita. I'm glad to be here. Ishita, can you please confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, now it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So just before getting started, I would like to ask one question to the audience. Let me know your hackathon idea in the comments. I will be happy to read that so that we can, build these frameworks and validate your particular ideas as well. So take your time. I'll get started. Meanwhile, in the comment section, what you guys can do is that add your hackathon ideas so that I can also have a look at it and all of us can have a look at each other's ideas and get inspired from the same as well. All right, so let's get started. Right. So today's topic of discussion is how to validate your idea like a product manager. First thing first, before, I'm assuming that not everyone knows that what a product manager does or who a product manager is at this point of time, right? So just to put some context on it, a product manager is someone who is a generalist in between multiple teams, namely your design team, business team, and tech team. And as a product manager, what we are supposed to do is to make sure that we are understanding customer needs, understanding customer pain points, and then delivering solutions for them as well, which is creating some real world impact. So again, just to put things into perspective, as a product manager, we are supposed to solve problems for the customers while making sure that we are also building the product in the right way. So if you look at it, like a product manager is supposed to build the right product and build the product right. So these are two different things. When we talk about build the right product, it is about building the right product for the right users, for the right problem, after understanding right reasons for solving that problem, after understanding user pain points, after doing market research, competitor analysis, and understanding if there is a real need of this problem, right? Which is about what are we solving and why are we solving this problem. So this is one thing, which is building the right product. Once we know that yes, we are building the right product, then we move on to the second thing, which is about building the product right. Now building the product right, on the other hand, is more about execution, which is building the right product is about strategy, building the product right is about execution, where you have to make sure that you're building the product in the right manner, with the right strategies, with the right people in place, with the right technical architecture in place, with the right design practices and even testing practices, to make sure that the product is also being built in the right way. And what I just explained is about strategy and execution. That's what a product manager does. And that is the same thing that all of you guys have to do when you're working on your startup idea. It's not only about strategy and it's not only about execution. You have to make sure that you are using the right strategy to figure out if the problem that you're solving in your hackathon is correct or not, if that problem has some real world impact or not. And similarly, once you have clarity that yes, you are on the right path, you are building the right product, then the next thing that comes into the picture is to make sure that you're building it very efficiently, while making sure that correct execution is going into the picture, and the product is being built with the right design philosophy, with the right technical architecture, to make sure that the product is scalable as well. So I hope this is clear. Let's move ahead. Let's understand, what happens in the current startup ecosystem as well, right? One thing that all of us know, even I just told you guys, right, that I had two startups, which is FitRev and Pedal Pals. And even I could just like in one of our startups, we could just raise it till 10 months. After 10 months, we also had to close our startup. And that's what happens. 90% of the startups fail within the first few years itself, because, and that is, what is the number one reason for that, is that most of the startup founders are building products with no market need. And this is 100% preventable, but not everyone is able to do that. Just to put things into perspective, I have also judged at NIT Jalandhar's Hackmole 6.0, if I'm not wrong. Similarly, Hack CBS and DU as well. And I've seen multiple hackathons, multiple folks building amazing products, like all of young kids like you, right? You guys are building great products, but again, one mistake that you make is very similar to the mistake people make while they run their own startup, that they don't focus on the market need, they don't validate their idea very properly. So that is what I'm going to put some more light on today, that validation is not only nice to have, it is absolutely essential. Specifically in today's world, where we know that everything can be built very quickly and efficiently with the help of AI. So validation becomes even more important, because everyone can build, all the developers, all of you wonderful kids who are here, who has experience in coding and multiple other skills, right? I'm sure that you guys can build things, but the goal should be to make sure what you're building has some value. You have done some market validation, understood if there is a need in the market for what you're building or not. Because at the end of the day, it will help you save some time, preserve your capital, as well as protect your emotional energy as well. Because what happens is that as founders, even I'm sure as hackathon participants, all of you guys get emotionally attached to your product as well, right? Even I remember I have seen some of the wonderful products in multiple hackathons. But if you don't validate the market need, then it becomes only till the level from one hackathon to another hackathon. But if you really want to move past that, which would be my suggestion to all of you guys, right? As I mentioned that I was also working as a startup founder, and that led me to product management journey. So I would suggest all of you guys, it's great that you guys are building your products in this hackathon, but make sure that you have a vision that you can take all of these products that you're building to the next level, which is actually build a startup on top of it. which will give you a lot more, perspective, and lot more learnings will come into the picture as well.
So we
Yeah.
had a very similar question on this topic earlier.
Okay.
Um, the question is, many participants struggle with choosing the right idea for a hackathon. What's the
Mhm.
very first step you recommend to validate whether an idea is worth pursuing?
Okay. That's a great question, and that is something that we are going to come at. So let me just go on the next slide, which is exactly i- after problem discovery. This is the first phase. So let me just take this question in a minute. Before that, let me also just speak a little bit about the PM mindset, right? This plus this covers your question right here, Rishita. So let me just start with that. First thing first, as I mentioned that I am working as a product manager. One thing that I think everyone, whether you're working as a developer, you're working as a product manager, designer, even in sales, marketing, business roles, right? I think PM mindset is something that all of you guys should adapt as well, because it is about falling in love with the problem and not the solution. And as you mentioned about this question as well, right? This is what happens, that a lot of people get into the way where they love their solution. Even I did the same mistake when I was building my own startup, right? We thought that we have built an amazing product, which is the marketplace for gyms and fitness centers, and then a gym management software for them. And we were actually in love with our solution because we have put a lot of efforts, love, time in building that with me and my team, right? But eventually we understood that solutions can come and go, and a lot of times it is not the solution that is needed as well. We as problem solvers, and I've seen this in a lot of hackathons as well, right? You guys build complex solutions because you have the skills to build it. But at the end of the day, our goal should be to solve meaningful problems, that is creating lasting value and impact. And that can be done sometimes with a simple solution as well, and we don't actually have to go into a lot more complexity of the same. And how do we keep solving that? Again, as part of PM mindset, we have to think in hypotheses and not certainties. We will be putting more light on this moving forward as well. And make sure that specifically in today's world, where every startup wants to be a AI startup, don't focus on AI, focus on the problem. If you're focusing on the problem, then understand how can you use AI to solve that problem. So again, the advice here would be to not fall in love with the solution, but fall in love with the problem, so that you are obsessed with the problem enough to understand what can be 10 different solutions to solve that problem. One of them might be the easiest, one of them might be more complex. You have to focus on what is actually needed for the customer. That's where customer journey comes into the picture, that we will be speaking as well. Now, moving on, problem discovery. This is the exact answer about your question, Ishita. How do we actually validate that? We start by doing problem discovery. Problem discovery is nothing but understanding what is the problem, understanding is this problem genuine, understanding what is the impact of solving this particular problem, and understanding the problem space, right? So when we talk about problem discovery, it starts with customer conversations, because at the end of the day, for a product manager, or I would say for anybody who's working in a company, right? Customer is not only the king, customer is the whole kingdom. At the end of the day, we are supposed to solve problem for the customers, whether you are working as a product manager, designer, customer support, engineer, even a founder, sales, marketing. At the end of the day, everyone is solving a problem for the customer, right? So we have to make sure when we are validating our idea, we are talking to as many customers as possible. We have written 10 to 20 potential users. I would suggest go as many as possible, right? Even in your hackathons right now, you have multiple folks who are participating with you, right? Just take that opportunity, take your startup idea or your hackathon idea and discuss it with other team members as well, right? Even if they are on some other team, just go and ask if this is a problem that they are facing, or potentially go to people who you think will be your direct customers or users, right? Understand their pain points, understand how are they currently solving that particular problem, what are the alternatives of that as well, which will help you to do not only understand better about the customers, but also do market research and competitor analysis as well. So first thing first about problem discovery will be customer conversations. talk to them as much as possible, and make it a point to not pitch your idea but just listen to them, gain insights from the customers, understand their pain points, understand what are the issues that they are facing and if they are worth solving. Once you have talked to customers, you have got an idea, then the second thing would be breaking that down into JTBD. JTBD is the framework which is jobs to be done based on the customer conversations that you had, right? What you have to focus on is what are the jobs to be done from your end? What job are people hiring a product to do? What progress are they trying to make in their lives? These are the questions that you have to ask about any particular problem that you're solving. You're solving a problem for, let's say, e-commerce, quick commerce, fintech, right? Just try to, after talking to the customers, try to break that down into simple points like what is the problem that this is solving, right? What is the progress or impact this solution will have on customers' life, and break it down into JTBD, which is jobs to be done. Once you have done that, you will have more better structure of how to do problem discovery. And once you have done that, then you move on to the next thing, which is about creating user personas with their pain points. So, as product managers, this is something that we do very regularly. That is creating the user personas, right? User personas is nothing but mapping out the pain points of users who are actually facing that particular problem, and understanding what are the different pain points that they are facing and what are the key metrics that you can track to improve that as well. So, just to give you an example, right? For example, let's say there is Netflix as a product. So there are three different kind of users who use Netflix. One of them can be, let's say, 16 to 20-year old who likes to watch sports stuff on Netflix. Then one of them can be a 35-year-old woman who likes to watch, let's say, romantic movies on Netflix only once a week. Then there can be a 60-year-old guy who just wants to like to watch documentaries on Netflix, right? So all of these are three different user personas, and these three different user personas will help you to understand what are the different types of pain points users are facing and how can you solve it eventually. So again, coming back to that question as well, first thing would be to do problem discovery. How can we do problem discovery? By talking to as many customers as possible, by breaking it down into JTBD framework, then by creating user personas and pointing out their pain points to understand better about how you can actually solve that. So now, practically speaking, about your hackathon idea at this point of time, I would suggest, if you guys have time, just go and talk to as many customers as possible, or as many potential users that you find for your product, and understand what are the actual issues that they are facing and how your hackathon idea can help them achieve that. Then break it down into JTBT framework and map out the different personas based on multiple customer conversations. Just to put some things more on context, let's say you talk to 30 users, right? Out of those 30 users, you just have to create three user personas, like I mentioned. People who are interested into romantic movies but only once a week, people who are interested into watching something daily but only about sports, and people who are only interested into documentaries, right? So after talking to 30 users, you have to break it down into three particular user personas. Then based on these user personas, you start solving your problem. So this is the first step, that is problem discovery. And since I'm working as a AI product manager, and I'm sure that all of you guys in today's world are using AI for multiple different things. I have seen in my previous hackathon that I judged at that a lot of users were using multiple AI tools already, right? Whether that is Chat GPT, Microsoft Copilot, or Claude AI, or Gemini, right? So how AI can help in problem discovery? It can help you to create interview analysis. Basically, based on the problem that you tell AI, that is a Gen AI tool, any of the tool, any of the LLM that you guys use, you can ask them to create interview analysis and create interview questions as well, which will help you to talk to the user very easily. Then survey summarization can be done with the help of AI as well. Let's say you're talking to, or you're taking Google form feedback or Google form or some other surveys of 500 students, right? Then it's very difficult for you to go through all these surveys. What you can do is that you can just put all that data into LLM, and they will give you a summary of that survey and tell you what are the key pain points and key insights that you have to focus on. AI can also help to, understand pain pattern detection based on the conversations that you had with users, or based on the surveys that you had, right? AI can detect what is the pain pattern, which will actually help you to create user personas with particular pain points as well. Now there are multiple tools that you can use for the same. Claude is one of the very good tools that you can use. Gemini, ChatGPT, even I think Cursor, all of these are very good to read qualitative data at scale and come up with insights based on the same. So again, just to cover it up, first step is problem discovery. Second step is hypothesis to experiment. Now, hypothesis is when you understand what can be done, right? But change that hypothesis into experiment. That is the way to go about it. Because at the end of the day, you can do all the hypotheses that you want, but you have to turn your problem understanding into testable assumptions. That becomes experiment. How one good example of the same is landing page test, right? You can create a fake door landing page describing your solution and measuring sign up, which is nothing. Just go to any AI tool. Lovable is there, bold.new is there, or any other tools that you like. Ask them to create a landing page of the startup idea that you have. Based on that landing page, test out how many customers are willing to give you their email addresses, or how many customers are willing to sign up on your particular platform. That will tell you if there is value proposition, if users are providing to provide willingness to provide their email as well, which will give you a very good idea if users are actually interested in the same or not. Then the next step is MVP. I'm not sure if you guys are already aware about what MVP is, but just to tell you a bit, MVP is minimum viable product, and I think all of you guys should read about MVP. MVP is basically when you have, like, the product has only enough features that are ready to test the market assumptions. Ishita, I think you have a question.
No, I just really thought that the fake door, the landing page test, this is something really new. Like, I haven't heard of this before.
Okay.
And
Yeah, let me just provide more context on that in that case. So just to let you know, let's say whatever your hackathon idea is there anybody who has shared their hackathon idea with us in the comments? Uh,
but there's a question though. Let me display that.
okay, sure,
Um, the question is by Swagita. What's the best way to show both idea validation and MVP potential in my final pitch? Uh,
perfect.
these are the
That's
type of questions we often get. Like people are confused what to say on stage when they are pitching. So it's
Makes sense.
related to that.
Yes, that is a great question. Again, it comes to first thing first, based on the research that you have done. When we talk about research, it has to come from customer conversations, right? And as many customer conversations you had, you will have better idea if your problem is actually worth solving, and how can you actually solve that for the customers as well. So when we talk about how to best pitch that, use the MVP method, which is build the product, then iterate it as soon as possible. If you guys want to learn more about MVP, there is a book called as 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. If you guys are aware about Peter Thiel, right? The founder of PayPal and Peter Thiel Fellowship. So MVP book is also 0 to 1 is also based on the MVP concept, which basically tells you how to validate your idea. And how do we go about it? Is to make sure first thing first, we are listening to the customers, understanding customer needs. That is the first step. Once we have understood the customer needs, second step is to build something as quickly as possible with least amount of efforts, energy, and time. Even in your hackathons, right, you have very limited time. Let's say it's a two day hackathon or 3 day hackathon or something like that, right? In that case, you have to build something very quickly, take feedback from customers, and quickly iterate it. That is the way to go about it. So when you talk about pitching, Sogita, in that case as well, you have to showcase that you got the idea, then you validated that idea with customers or potential users. After that, the next thing that you did is you built something, and that something is called as a MVP. But always make sure that end goal of an MVP is to iterate it. is to quickly change that as soon as possible based on the customer feedback that you have taken. So in your pitch as well, make sure that you are telling that you built something which was a phase one of your product. But in your phase two, after getting some feedback from users, after getting some feedback from your friends, you iterated that product. You made some changes based on the customer feedback. If you show that in your pitch as well, that is something that will definitely stand out, because they will understand that you are not only, again, as I said, not working towards the solution, but also understanding the problem, understanding the customers, and iterating your solution based on the customer needs, which will help you to stand out from other participants as well. All right, I hope this is clear. Again, I think we have already covered a bit about MVP, but just to sum it up, MVP is a minimum viable product, a product that you can use to test and validate the market assumptions, which will have only enough features that are required to test the market assumptions. And make sure that you know that the goal of an MVP is to iterate it as soon as possible after taking feedback from the customers. I hope this is clear. This MVP also allows you to understand what is the core value proposition, how many customers are willing to pay for it, and actually want to stick for it as well, right? And just to clarify, I think all of the startups that you see at this point of time, right, all of the big companies as well, all of them started as a MVP itself. For example, I'm sure you guys have heard about Zomato, right? All of you guys are in India and are using Zomato as well. Even in Dubai right now, Zomato Gold is there. So when we talk about Zomato, right? So Zomato was also started as an MVP, which is a minimum viable product approach. If I'm not wrong, Dipinder Goyal and his friends, when he was working in Bain and Company, right? They started it as Foodie Bay, which was a platform that had only the menu of different restaurants. That's it. It was, they just used to click the picture of a restaurant brochure, then add it into their website called as Foodie Bay. That's how Zomato was started, a minimum viable product. But once they understood that customers have demand for it, then they moved on to the second idea, which is food delivery. And even for food delivery, they use the MVP approach. They did not go ahead and hire product managers, product designers, engineers, and build Zomato app first. Rather, what they did is that they validated the idea on WhatsApp. They used to ask, working professionals working in Gurgaon at that point of time, if you want hot food delivered to them for lunch, and they used to take orders on WhatsApp. Then they did not build an app, they used to take orders on WhatsApp. Then they did not hire delivery partners. Dipinder Goyal and his friend, they used to deliver the food themselves to the customers. This was the MVP approach that you guys also have to follow and in these hackathon. And this is the MVP approach that almost everyone who has built big today uses to validate the idea. Even if I give you an example of Facebook, right? We all know Facebook today, but Facebook was started only in Harvard. It was a website which only started for Harvard students so that they can see each other's profile. Once that got a lot of validation and hype, then they moved to different schools of US. Once that got done, then they eventually got building Facebook for the entire world. So that is the approach that you guys have to follow. Then the third thing about experiment is wizard of OZ, which is that AI can be helpful in multiple things at this point of time, which is, there can be AI agents, AI building models that can help you in multiple things. Even for coding, if you're coding something and you are training the model on based on that particular coding, you can build your own personal agent, which will be very much helpful. And as it will remember everything that you have added on the same, and they can build on the same as well. So at the end of the day, make sure that rather than just doing hypothesis, you are doing experiment at this point of time by building the MVP and taking feedback from the customers.
Those
If
were two really great examples, I think. Like using AI to really test it, like not just to code, but I thought that was really innovative. I have never heard of the fake door.
Mhm. So I think this is something that everyone should absolutely do. Even I remember when I started my first internships and even my first startups, right? That is actually what helped me. I just built a landing page. I saw if customers are coming on it, then I will build something on top of it. Because to be honest, I never liked coding a lot, but because it was my startup, I had to do coding for that. As my tech guy wasn't, working, and so he was a backend guy, and I was expecting that he can also do the front end. But I realized that I can't rely on him anymore, so I built the website myself. And then once I started getting feedback, once I started getting a few customers who were actually giving their email and they were filling up a form which had name, phone number, email, right? That made me realize, okay, let's build this website more, let's iterate it, let's make it user friendly, let's improve the user experience. And that again eventually helps you to bring more and more customers. So I think that is the goal. We should definitely go there. And specifically today, all of you young guys have a fantastic opportunity with AI, right? AI at this point of time can help in multiple things. Even, as we were talking about experiments, right? AI can be helpful in experiments, which is generating multiple landing page variations to test which messaging resonates. Just to give some context, A/B testing is basically when we are testing some features for 50% of the people and other feature for 50% of the people. It can be as simple as, let's say, red and white UI on for 50% of users, and black and blue UI for other 50% of the users. And then we will test for both users and understand which is getting more traction, where users are coming more. And similarly, we can create multiple landing page variations for that fake door as well, and understand which is working better in this case. So A/B testing copy is very easy to do, and AI will help you in that very easily. Then no code plus AI prototypes. This is very easy and great to do at this point of time. You have Lovable, you have Bold.new. These are the tools that even I use at this point of time. Even in my previous company, I was working as a AI product manager in a company which was in no code tools, right? So no code tools are great at this point of time just to get started as an MVP. Then, of course, AI driven analytics is also something which is very helpful, which will give you insights to understand if you're going in the right direction. Yes, Ishita, I think you have something.
Um,
All
yeah, I
good.
was just thinking Netflix is known a lot for A/B testing. Like,
Yeah, that's correct. Netflix is known for A/B testing. I would say every app where there are
mhm,
product managers, they are trying to do A/B testing. I have seen a lot of A/B testing in LinkedIn as well. So you just don't get to know it because you are just one user. If you try two accounts, then probably you can see that. Even I was working as a product manager at Wildy, where I created a stock market and mutual funds app. I used to do, because it was a B2C app, right? It was very similar to your Grow, Zero, the Upstocks. So we used to do very aggressive A/B testing there as well, to make sure that what users are actually liking, what is something that we can actually validate and go ahead with. And you have more chance to do A/B testing when you are a small company. You can do it very quickly. There are not a lot of users. You don't have a lot of pressure, right? All of these things, when you're working on your hackathon as well, right? It is not very tough to create another landing page. I'm sure everyone who's participating in the hackathon are great at creating landing pages, doing coding, right? So use AI to create multiple copies, to create different versions of the landing page, and then take feedback from users. Even you don't actually have to do anything. Lovable, Bold.new, they're free. Go to no code tools and just create multiple versions of these landing pages. Then take feedback from your friends only. Which color do you like better? Which messaging do you like better? Which user experience do you like better? And based on that, you can show the final one to the, let's say, the judges at the hackathon as well, right? Because then your idea is already validated by your friends. So it is obviously going to come up better because you have also iterated on the initial draft of the scene.
mhm. So also, I had a startup idea, like an hackathon idea, you could say, which is like a collection of like tools, AI tools also, to push personalized learning, like highly personalized, like basically an edtech app, so that you can reach any goal that you want.
Mhm.
Um, And like I am with my co-founder, and we have worked on that app also. We actually started it as a project, so we were first into creating the whole thing, and
Mhm.
now we are thinking that how many people would actually, maybe pay for it. um,
Correct.
so what do
Perfect.
you think of that?
No, that's a good idea. But again, the best way to be not listen to me, but to validate with the actual market, right? That is what we learned. So I think for that, do one thing very simple. I would suggest create a Google form, ask all the right questions, take the
Hmm.
survey. That would be the first step, right? Second would be to create the landing page and do the
Hmm.
fake method for that. Then you will automatically know how many users are willing to sign up for that, right? Third,
Hmm.
even I would suggest, be active on multiple communities. For example,
Hmm.
let's say just be active on LinkedIn and start posting something which is closest to your idea, and ask people on LinkedIn on multiple, like, girls leading tech. It's a community in itself, right? Ask people these questions. If this is something that resonates with you, if this is something that will actually solve your problem, and then when you talk about personalized, right? Now, personalization is very personalized. So you have to understand how you can actually personalize it based on different users. There, A/B testing can be very helpful as well.
Hmm. Our idea is basically that any goal that you want to learn in any like X goal in Y duration of time, and then
Okay.
it creates you it gives you the resources as well, uh,
Okay.
and a roadmap to complete that goal. So,
That's Yeah, yeah. So I think again, it's a good idea, but again, validate it with the customers and understand, like, while you're validating it, right? Give some examples, like create some uh, basic examples which you think will be helpful. For example, let's say create a sample product management course, or
hmm,
create a AI course, or let's say even design or tech course, right? Whatever kind
hmm,
of learning you want. And eventually, this is a LMS, which is a learning management system, right?
hmm,
This can also be very helpful in not only courses, but let's say
yeah,
a gym course, right? Where I just want to understand what are next steps for me. It is push pull leg. Is it back
hmm,
exercises? What are the exercises, right? So it can be helpful in all of these things. And at the end of the day, it is a LMS, which is a learning management system, and you can validate it in multiple different industries or multiple different type of courses. And that would be just coming up with 3 4 different samples: a tech course, B, a product management course, C, a food, let's say cooking course, or dancing course, or gym course, right? To understand where it is working better and where users have actual demand.
the simplest example that we went in was for say I want to learn Python in 30 days, because
Okay.
that's what usually students go
Yeah,
for.
of course.
um,
Just 1 month before the exam.
yeah. So uh,
Right.
and we have a sort of MVP prepared right now.
That's
But
nice.
and we had done a Google form on which we got around 50 responses.
Okay.
But still, like I had a doubt in my mind that how good is a Google form, because so many Google forms are circulated every day.
That's
Um,
true. That's true. But again, one thing would be to make that 15 to 500, take more responses. The
hmm,
better your sample size is, the better understanding you will have. Second, the fake door method you understood today, right? Create
yeah.
it as soon as possible and float it with your Google form, so that you also understand. And if you can have analytics in place, you will
Hmm,
understand how many users are coming on your website, then how many users are exploring different pages in the website, then how many users are tapping on interested, or how many users are actually signing up with their email, right? So
hmm,
signing up for the email will be the first conversion rate for you, to
hmm.
understand how many users are, getting converted. So I think just keep on experimenting, keep going, and this is the age, this is the time. I'm sure you guys will build something great.
Thank you, sir. I feel
All right.
really hopeful now. I learned something new today.
Definitely. I would definitely suggest you just, you guys, the best thing that you guys have in your college is time. You have a lot of time. Once you start working, you get responsibilities, all of that. This time
Hmm.
goes out. Though I won't say that I am very busy now. I have a lot of free time. That's why I also like to come on these communities. But the free time that you have in college is unmatchable, right? So make use of that, build startups. If one message that I have to give to all of your community, not only focus on creating hackathon project, make sure that you're taking this hackathon project and building it into a startup. Give your best to make this hackathon project into a startup. Even, just to tell you, today morning I was having a conversation with a guy called as Good Simran, who won a hackathon, which is Hackmole 6.0, I think 3 months back at NIT Jalandhar, where I was called as a judge. He won that hackathon, and today he is taking that hackathon idea which won into a startup, and he is going to raise funds for that as well. He was asking for my advice and to raise funds on that. So this definitely happens, and in today's world where a lot of hackathons are happening, I would suggest build your hackathon idea. If you think there is potential, iterate it as much as possible with the MVP techniques that we talked about today, and make sure that you're taking it into building a proper product and startup. It will give you immense learnings, right? Because I am one of the examples. I got Today I'm an AI product manager with 5 years of experience, though I just graduated in 2022. But I am able to do that only because I built two startups. That's why that put me, I think, at least 5x forward into my career, because I built my startups. I got all the learnings from building my startups, and that put me into a position where I could, even coming from a tier two college, I could jump into a product manager role very early. So I think just make sure that the hackathon ideas that you have, take it seriously. Don't keep it limited to your hackathon, and build it into a startup idea. Then keep experimenting, keep going, and you will build something great.
I'm sure the audience is very lucky to be hearing from you, and I feel very lucky to be hosting you, sir.
I am very lucky to, be here with all of you guys as well. I think God is kind. He has put all of us in this position. Perfect. So let's go back to our presentation, right? So this is done. The third step, as we were talking, right? First is problem discovery. I hope this is clear to everyone. Then hypothesis to experiment. This is the second step. Then the third step, again, this will be very helpful for you as well, Ishita, is defining the success metrics. Even from the Google survey that we have to take, and even from the fake door landing page method that we have to take. One thing, one thing that is very important is to define the success metrics. If we define the success metrics beforehand, we will know if we have achieved it or not. Because what happened is that without predefined metrics, you will be tempted to move goalposts or rationalize the poor results as well. That's why it's very important, once you're building the startup idea, that MVP of yours, it should have success metrics clearly defined. And as product managers also, this is something that we do very regularly, defining the success metrics, defining the impact analysis of what we are building. For example, let's say in your case, Ishita, for this landing page, right? You created a landing page for your edtech startup, and in that you saw that if more than 10% people, let's say 100 people came, right? Out of, if more than 10 people are signing up, which is the sign up conversion, which means that there is a green light, and then you should definitely work on your startup idea even more and go and build it. If it is between 5 to 9%, then you can understand that it is promising but needs clear messaging, or needs one more try at targeting refinement. But it is like, if only two people are signing up, then you know that it's a red light and people don't need this solution. So this is a way to understand, but this will only understand if you will define your success metrics before starting with the idea as well. So I hope this is clear. Defining the success metrics becomes extremely important to understand the impact analysis of the product that you have created. Again, one of the case study examples that we can take is Airbnb. Airbnb today is one of the biggest companies that is there. It's a 100 billion plus company. And how it started, it also started with the MVP approach itself, where they did not put any efforts, they did not create anything on tech. They just started with a simple landing page which had photos of different apartments, and then they used to match manually the host and the guest. So manual matching, manually matching started, very similar to manual process of Dipinder going delivering the food in Zomato, right? Then once they understood that yes, customers are willing to pay for it, customers are willing to use the product, then they validated the core hypothesis that people would pay to stay in strangers' home. Once they did it, now we already know that Airbnb is more than 100 billion plus value company. In this case specifically today, AI twist is there, where entire validation process could be done in weeks rather than months using today's AI tools, right? So this is the case with Airbnb, Facebook, Zomato, even I think all of the products that we know, right? Moving forward, I'll also tell you about like some other products. So next step, the final step, as I talked about in MVP also, it's always to iterate or pivot. Iterate is basically improving the product based on the feedback, or pivot is pivoting into something else because that particular thing is not working based on the feedback that you took. So the idea remains the same, that take as many feedback as possible and iterate based on the same. How do you do that? First thing first is build. This is the first step. Create a MVP, build that MVP, then measure. Measure by creating predefined success metrics. As we discussed earlier, that success metrics will give you insights if the product is going in the right direction or not. Then based on that, you have to take heavy, extensive amount of feedback from the customers, and that feedback will tell you what to learn, what are the insights that you need for your next iteration. Based on your learnings, based on the insights that you got, you will transform it or iterate your particular product. Based on that, if you think no, it is not uh, going in the right direction, then you will pivot and be willing to change direction based on data. Because at the end of the day, data in today's world is the new currency, and you have to treat data with that value, that data is the new currency. And use data as much as possible to iterate your product, to validate your product, to pivot your product based on the data insights that you got from the customer feedback. So step 4 in this journey, again, step 1 is problem discovery. Step 1, problem discovery. Step 2, don't do hypothesis, do experiment by creating a MVP. Then step 3 would be defining the success metrics before launching the product. Then step 4 is to iterate or pivot based on the feedback that you have taken. And pivot is completely okay. There's no problem with pivoting your idea. Even if you look at it, many successful companies weren't the founders' first ideas. Even in my startup, I remember the second startup that I did, it wasn't the first idea that we started with, which is the gym management software. That was the third idea. And the all the gyms and fitness centers on the marketplace, that was the second idea. The first idea that we had, first couple of ideas, we could never build that also, which is something that cult fitness is doing today, but we couldn't do it because of we didn't have enough capital. Having said that, moving ahead, Twitter began as a podcasting platform, and now we all know, what Twitter is used for in today's world. Instagram started as a check-in app. Today we know Instagram is one of the biggest social media platforms. Slack was originally a game company. Again, today we all know that Slack is one of the most used, organization platform like Teams. Microsoft Teams is the competitor, and Slack is owned by Salesforce at this point of time. But it was started as a game company. And specifically, AI can help you to unlock new pivot opportunities by analyzing patterns in validating your idea. So, guys, this is pretty much it from my end. Now I'm open for questions. Uh, I hope everything is clear. If any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to take it up.
The question that we have is, time is limited in hackathons. What quick validation techniques can teams use to test if their idea has real world value?
That's a great question. I know that time is limited in hackathons. One thing that you can do, as I mentioned, is talk to the people who are there with you, the folks who are other participants, right? Go and talk to them and get their feedback on the same. That's one. Second, a lot of times you are building a product that is probably, the potential users can be your friends and family members. Just quickly speak with them. Take not a lot, do 10 to 20 or 30 if possible validations of conversations and validations based on the same. So first thing will always remain the same: quickly talk to users, understand their pain points, understand if your product is solving some real world problem and is creating an impact in the potential user's life. So that would be one. Second, specifically when we have AI at this point of time, right? Ask all of these questions to AI. Treat LLMs as your customers, right? Ask these questions to different LLMs. For example, you have a question that if my product is useful for this particular demographic of people, which is 60 plus year old people, let's say, right? So treat ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude AI, all of these as separate users and ask them to create user personas. They will be very helpful in that. Just make sure, it's all about prompt engineering, asking the right questions to get the right inputs, giving the right inputs to get the right outputs, right? So make sure that you are just asking and using AI as much as possible, which would be very time uh, saving and very efficient for you guys as well. And second would always be real world talking to the customers to validate the idea. Yeah, I hope this is clear.
Another question that we have is, what are the most common mistakes participants make when validating their hackathon ideas?
Okay. So I think one of the main, mistakes that they make, what I have seen in my case, is that they don't even talk to users. They just start building because they liked it. Because, as I mentioned, in like at NIT Jalandhar as well, when I was actually, judging these hackathon ideas, I saw that people have actually built great technical products, but there is no use of it, which clearly tells me that they never spoke about their idea with anyone. They got no feedback on that. They did not try to ask the customers if there is a real world need of the same. On the other hand, I remember there was a team which came, I think, third, who were freshers at that point of time, but they built a app which was like in terms of tech not that magnificent, but what they focused on is working on a real world problem, which was something like a dating app based on your pets dating app, right? So now a lot of people are there who have pets, a lot of people are there, especially in colleges, who are looking to date, right? So it's a good idea. It's very easy to validate that. And they did talk to some customers even. I don't have pets, but I could be a potential customer because I'm open to dating, if not with a pet. But all of these things can come because at the end of the day you can validate your idea and get a better understanding of it if that idea has a real world impact. Similarly, one of the other hackathon ideas is that multiverse that they are building, Dhaniverse, for fintech, basically finance knowledge with playing in multiverse, right? Again, that is something that we know that people will need, because a lot of people wants to gain a lot of financial knowledge, or let's say personal finance knowledge, right? For that we go to different YouTubers, influencers, and get our knowledge from that. But so there is that is already validated, because like let's say Ankur Variku, Akshat Srivastav, and all of Sharan, all of these have a lot of following on YouTube, Instagram, right? Why is it there? Because people need to learn about personal finance. So that is already validated that there is a need of the same. Now these guys are building their startup based on the same. That personal finance can come with the help of multiverse. So we know that there is a need for sure. That is already validated. So that is one way to look at it. Though I would highly recommend that talk about your particular solution to the customers as well, if that is actually solving in personal finance knowledge. But that is one way to look at it. If you know that there is a demand of something in the industry, then you can go and build in that area as well.
And I have a question. How does one monetize their startup? Like, how do they know they are in the right demographic for that?
So I think this is the case when I was talking about MVP as well, right? Which the one of the key concepts of MVP is to understand if customers are willing to pay for it or not. So again, what you have to do is that you don't have to build the perfect product. It's never about building the perfect product. It's about building some product, taking feed, taking feedback on that product, and then iterating the product, and in that journey come up with small hook steps to understand if customers are willing to pay for it. For example, in your case, let's say the edtech startup, right? You don't have to come up directly monetizing it. Start with basics. Ask users to pay you 9 rupees for a course that they are creating. That's it. Or even start with 1 rupee. If they are willing to pay 1 rupee also, then you know that your idea will be successful. Then you just have to focus on improving the product, but start small in that case. Second, there can be multiple other ways to monetize your startups. That could be specifically in edtech startups and other similar startups. What happens is that you can earn money from affiliate marketing. So giving advertisement of different products on your platform is one way to go about it. Second is that just there are influencers that already exist, right? So all of these influencers who are into similar category, they can promote your product also. And if they are bringing in paid customers, then an affiliate can go in the other way around as well. So at the end of the day, how you can validate is just understanding if customers are even willing to pay 1 rupee for it, or they are willing to take a 9 rupees course for it. They are willing to spend 100 rupees on it. That is one way to go about it. It can be based on subscription, let's say 100 rupees per month subscription. It can be based on per course subscription. It can be, even you can give 1 month of free or 1 week of free access to your platform as well, right? Then eventually you can see what are the different other ways. One could be, let's say you are teaching let's say at product management course, right? So after that product management course, you are also selling some particular product. Let's say you were uh, teaching a product management course where you were talking about how to build an iPhone, and eventually you affiliate iPhone in there as well. That okay, go and buy iPhone from our website, because users are already there, and they are already your loyal customers because they are converted users who are watching the whole content. So since that is happening, at the end of the day, just give them the link, buy iPhone from here, and earn from affiliate. So that can be one of the ways to go about it as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're
I'll
welcome.
make sure to note down all of them. Um,
Sounds good. All right.
uh,
I think this is pretty much it.
yes. Okay.
All right. Perfect. Happy to
Okay.
be
Thank
here.
you so
Thank
much,
you,
sir.
Ishita. Thank you. You were a great host. Great speaking with you. And thank you everyone for joining in. All the very best for your hackathon ideas. And I am always, active on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me, all of you guys who would like to connect. And always happy to help, because I have also grown like that by, taking help from mentors, taking help from industry professionals. So I'll be happy to be in a position where I can help you guys with anything that is possible for me. All right. Good night, everyone. All the very best. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just close this thing now. Um,
Okay. Sounds good.
Once again, thank you, Yajar sir, for such a powerful session. What you have shown us is that validation isn't about slowing down, it's about making sure we are running in the right direction, which is super important. To all the hackers watching, remember hackathons give you speed, but validation gives you focus. If you want your project to live beyond the judging table, this is how you start. Stay tuned for more incredible sessions here at Hackora 2025. Until next time, keep building, keep testing, and keep pushing your ideas forward. Good night, everyone. Good
Good
night,
night,
Yajus.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Shita. Bye, guys.